is Nate. Welcome back to another episode of the For the Winners podcast or For the Winners show if you are watching on YouTube. Once again, I'd like to thank all of my subscribers, all of my supporters for coming back and watching another episode on the For the Winners channel. If you are new to me, my name is Nate. I'm the CEO and founder of a staffing agency called For the Win Creatives, and we pretty much help businesses find creative talent. That's what I do in my professional life. And this channel all right here is a bit personal, personal stuff, and I just drop like a lot of, gems and my thought process on different things, and I bring on a lot of cool guests in the business world and other different worlds. And this channel is just all about elevating in business and in your personal life, and this is all pretty much what my channel is about. Now today I have a guest on. His name is Brian. He's a CPA. He's an accountant. Also, he's a social media influencer, and also he has this cool thing that I really wanted to talk to you all about, which is it's called like Turo rental cars or whatever. And pretty much what you can do is like rent out vehicles or even buy vehicles and start your own rental car company, right? And he's done this. He's grossed over 6 figures doing this, and it's something that's very easy for a lot of people to do. So in this episode, I pretty much asked him to break down the business opportunity, and then not even just break it down, but also talk about all of the risk and different things like that are involved with doing this stuff, so people can know what they're getting into. But this is a very, very easy way, even just to make like an extra $1,000, $2,000 a month, for people. And I'm having them break all of this stuff down, man. And it's a really, really, really dope episode. So we're about to get into it. I hope you all like it. Make sure you all subscribe, comment down below what you liked, what you didn't like, etc. And yeah, let's just get into the episode. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the For the Winners podcast. So today we have a very, very special guest, and he is the infamous CPA, Mr. Brian Robertson. Now this guy, he is a CPA, a real estate investor. He does credit restoration. It's like I have a whole list of like things I can list what this dude does, man. He has a car rental business, a course seller, a social media influencer. Pretty much anything you can possibly think of, this dude is, man. But it's the infamous CPA, man. I'm glad to have you on, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, bro. Super excited to be here. I'm really looking forward to a dope conversation. I've seen all the great things that you've been doing before the winners, and I remember when I first saw it written out. I'm like, damn, that's a dope ass name, like For the Winners, bro. I really fuck with the whole movement. So, salute to you and everything that you're doing. And yeah, I'm definitely excited to be here.
Appreciate that. This is something that I want to tackle, like in this entire like podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I want to tackle like practical things that a person could do, especially like in the economy that we in right now,
mm-hmm.
that are pretty much in the same position that you were in, with being in debt, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that may not really have like that extra like income like how you had, you know what I'm saying? Because honestly, having an extra $2,000 every single month is a lot.
Yeah, it definitely is.
It's not normal, you know what I mean? So like just trying to tackle like practical things, and that's why I'm really like interested in this whole rental car thing, because I feel like that's something that a lot of people can get into
mm-hmm.
a lot easier, and it's a lot easier just on the mind and just kind of like more simple to get into versus going into real estate, having to take out a loan, you know what I'm saying, and renovate
mm-hmm.
a property and whatever. So like when it goes into this whole rental car thing, explain that whole situation there.
Yeah, so the rental car biz is easily explained as being very, very similar to Airbnb, but for cars. Because you're taking the asset, you're taking the space, and you're lending it out to people who either want to use it for vacation, just maybe use it for leisure. Like if you got a Tesla, somebody might rent it out for a photo shoot or something like that. Or you're renting it out to people who want to leverage it to make money. So that's where the kind of the Uber and Lyft drivers come into play, as well as delivery drivers. You got the Uber Eats, you got the Postmates, you got, et cetera, Grubhub. So you have a wide range of individuals who may need your car. So then from there, you just select your platform. So some people use Turo, some people use hire cars, some people kind of leverage both. Whereas Turo is more suited for people who like the leisure, vacation, things of that nature, maybe luxury a little bit as well. Whereas hire car is geared towards more Uber and Lyft drivers. So from there, once you select a platform, it's really just a matter of getting a quality car, taking some great pictures of it, and posting it on the platform. Because if you're in a big city or somewhere close where it's buzzing with people using Uber and Lyft, or even just ordering food delivery in general, you'll have a great opportunity to have your car rented out for at least 25 days of the month. But in most cases, I get long-term renters. So for instance, I have one lady who literally has been renting one vehicle for over a year. And it's crazy. We've made over $12K off that one rental, and the car was probably like $9,000 over the course of a year.
That's crazy. That's definitely that is crazy. So like with this, is there any stipulations on who can and who cannot rent a car when it comes to the renter? Not the renter, but the person who's like renting their car out. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it if it's some stuff going on? Like, I don't know if it's anything background wise that they look for, check for. You know what I'm saying? Like, are there any type of stipulations when it comes to who can rent their car out?
Yeah. So for those who want to rent their car, I think you definitely have to be 21 years of age. Then there's certain car requirements as well, and they're mainly aligned with like Uber and Lyft. So for Lyft, you really got to be careful because they put a new statute in place where they're not taking subcompact cars. So these are cars that's a little bit smaller, but it's still some decent sized cars that you can rent out. But Uber, for the most part, with both Uber and Lyft, the car can't be more than like 15 years old. It has to be 4-door, and it's a couple of other stipulations that's going to depend on where you're actually located. So a lot of people ask, like, can I do this in New York? New York is really tricky because what they'll do is they'll ask for something called a TLC license in addition to, whatever other standards you need for either Turo or hire car. But right now, at least I read the other day that in NY they put a halt to granting those licenses. So now you can't even have new cars in New York.
What is a TLC license?
Huh?
What is a TLC license?
So it's just a license to do Uber and Lyft or do any type of ride share in New York, because they created that as a way to limit the number of people that's going to be on the road, because they already got terrible issues with like traffic and whatnot.
Right.
But everywhere else, that's really the only place I've heard of someone doing that. Everywhere else is really a huge opportunity, but the best opportunities are going to be those who have busting downtown areas or just are in bigger cities. The Houstons, the LAs, Chicago, places like that.
So,
man, my mouth dry.
So when it comes down to the math behind the whole thing, like break that down, like the math behind the whole thing. Like what should people be looking at financially? You know what I'm saying? Or trying to like pretty much give the warnings of this entire like business model. You know what I'm saying? So break that down, because it sounds sweet up front, but it's always some bullshit still in the back in some way. So like,
so I'll go into the numbers and then I'll break down like some of the risks, because it's definitely risk with anything. So in terms of like startup costs, I usually tell people like you need at least $1,500 to get started. So I'll give you an example of a deal we did, back in March with a partner. So we bought this 2017 Kia Optima, and I have the numbers up here. So we got our LLC, it was $153, and then we paid $1,000 for the down payment, because you typically put 10% down, and then we paid $200 for the insurance down payment, and then from there we had to get our Uber and Lyft inspection. So those were literally the only 4 expenses we had during the acquisition of our vehicle. But you can have things like gas. If you're in a certain state that requires a city sticker, you might have to get that. And then, if you're not buying from somewhere who It's going to give you a warranty on the important parts of the vehicle. Then you definitely want to get that vehicle inspected. So that would be another expense that you could potentially have. But in this case, we invested $1,400, so $700 per partner, and we rent that vehicle out for $42 per day. And we got stuck with we have a long-term renter on that car, so it has literally been rented since it's been rented since March consistently. So we cash flow each month about $565 off a $1,500 investment or $1,400 investment. So we get our money back super quick. We get our money back in a little over 2 months, and then it's just profit from there. So if this individual rents for the entire year consistently, we're looking at almost a 500% cash on cash return. So that's really what I love about the business, is like very, very low startup costs, but the potential for income is crazy. The returns are crazy, parallel to pretty much any other industry. But because of those high returns, it is risky. And what I mean by that is, the renter can crash your car. And although you're going to have personal insurance, Turo or hire car is going to make them buy their insurance as well. You're protected, but still, that is something that can happen, and that can delay your process and make you liable for, your monthly car note if you decided to finance the vehicle. You're still going to have to pay for insurance. Like those expenses are going to keep coming regardless of if the car is on the road or not.
So if somebody crashes a car, Turo and them not like covering it or helping you cover these lost costs?
No. So they are, but it takes time. So because that's their main thing. If people are getting into accidents really frequently, then their processes are going to be a little bit slower to respond to your disputes. So that's what a lot of people have been seeing. So what I typically tell individuals in the course is that you need to be following up like a couple times a week to make sure they're not forgetting about you, and that you're constantly pushing them to make sure, if your car gets into an accident, that the insurance process takes maybe, 2 to 3 weeks versus 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah. But they do provide insurance though to protect you in the event that happens.
So that's where it's. What about, say if somebody's renting out a car and then your car breaks down? Like, what happens then?
You said if it's rented out and then the car breaks down?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what they'll do then in the event of that happens, then you literally have them get it towed to a secure location or to a shop, and then you evaluate kind of what happens. But that's a great point, because that's a huge risk as well. That's why I recommend people get warranties on the drivetrain of the vehicle, because these platforms, they don't cover mechanical breakdowns. They don't cover that. All they cover is typically tolls, tickets, is ways to get around those. But in terms of your actual mechanicals, they don't protect those, so you have to protect them yourself. And one way we talk about hedging that is by saving for maintenance every month. So I typically recommend saving 5 to 10% of your income for maintenance. Then I typically tell people as well, don't spend any of your profit for at least half a year, so that in the event that anything happens, like if you need a new engine, that's immediately anywhere from probably $3 to $6 grand depending on the vehicle. So you just want to have that in reserves to protect yourself in the event that any of that happens. But yeah, if you plan for it in advance and you make sure you keep up the maintenance, you shouldn't have a ton of different issues. But anything can happen.
So how many cars do you have now?
So right now I got 16.
You got 6. So you have a whole lot.
Yeah, we got a whole fleet. Yep.
So pretty much you're just using these platforms as your marketing.
Exactly. So that's what's great about it. We don't have to market because we have these platforms. The platform does the marketing, but we're transitioning out of that as well, because we pay for the premium insurance with hire car. So they're taking 25% off the top of our income. So we've been kind of transitioning out of that into private rentals. So then we're keeping that 25% for ourselves, but then it's an elevated risk there as well because we don't have that second layer of insurance protection that hire car provides. We're just relying on our insurance.
Yeah, because that's essentially what often happens a lot with marketplaces. Like even my business, we started off as a marketplace, and then we transitioned into an agency. So like us, we acted as that like security between for the buyer and for the the seller. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
we acted as that security, like how you're talking about right now with the padded insurance. But essentially, like what you can pretty much do with this model is like you can build your own like rental car company. Essentially, I mean, do you have any access to customer data? Or I mean, you could kind of like pick it up when you meet the person too, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we have a database of people who rented with us in the past. So once we fully get off the platform, we'll be able to contact these individuals and offer them a discount to join with us or whatever. But that is huge. But we don't have access to a lot of that intimate data, but we have enough to make it work.
Because I mean, honestly, if you have name, email, phone number, honestly, like a lot of people sleep on this, but social media info, if they willing to give it to you, you can get so much information off a person from their social media profile. Is literally ridiculous. But like a lot of people sleep on that. But I mean, yeah, I mean, a lot of the core information besides a person's home address, you know what I'm saying? You pretty much can have, and the only way that the platforms can really stop it is if they deliver the car to the customer, which I doubt that they do, right?
Yeah,
that would be like, crazy if they did that. That's honestly like that's extremely like that's super 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 interesting. It's like really, how long did it take you to build up the 16 cars?
So I got my last. When did we buy our last car? Damn, I'm trying to remember. I think it was like March. I bought well, no, maybe it was like April. I bought my last car.
When did you finish? I mean, when did you actually start, and then like when did you buy your last?
Yeah, so I started in the fall of. Let me see. Let me not get my dates mixed up. When was that? I think so. The fall of 2018. I put my personal car on there at first just to get a feel for it, and that literally got rented out for 36 days on the first rental. So that's when I knew it was like, okay, this is legit. So I bought another car 3 weeks later, and then I bought. Trying to see how many did I buy that year in 2018. I think maybe I ended the year with 3, and then over the course of 2019, that's when we acquired. We acquired maybe, I'm trying to see. So we had 3 at the end of 2018, and then in 2019 we acquired I think 11. Because this year we've only acquired 2 or 3. Because we've been focused on the management, getting all the systems and shit together, so we can really really scale.
Okay, so you've pretty much made over 6 figures from this entire thing.
Definitely.
From this entire thing. Honestly, like thinking about Airbnb, because it's a lot of people like subleasing with Airbnb. I know a lot of people doing that. Like it sounds like a lot more secure than like subleasing Airbnb, because I feel like eventually that shit is going to get shut down. Like, I mean, in a lot of cities, like even New York, are like cracking down on that shit heavy. So I feel like, I don't know, what's your opinion on that? Because I feel like this is a lot more secure and more long term than Airbnb subleasing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what I love about this is it's kind of recession proof in the fact that, which I didn't even know, before all of this pandemic kind of happened. The fact of the matter is, even if Uber and Lyft kind of goes down, people are so lazy to the point where they're going to order food delivery. Like whether it's for their groceries, whether it's for dinner, lunch, whatever, people use food delivery so much because of that convenience that it's always going to be an opportunity to do this. Even when the only challenge that I foresee in the next 5 to 10 years is with electric vehicles. When the world moves away from gas vehicles, you'll just really have the time to market to get rid of your gas vehicles before that happens, and then evaluate whether or not you just want to invest in electric cars or just sell the business overall.
Right. Pretty much like the cost of entry would just increase.
Yep.
Pretty much increase though. I don't know. Shit, I'm still keeping my stance on that. I definitely feel like this is a lot more secure, and like how you were saying, recession proof.
Yeah.
Deadly. I mean, oh shit, recession proof. Definitely. Like that shit is fucking crazy. That's definitely crazy. So, and you got a course on this too, right?
Yep. So yeah, I have a course. Like if you're interested in, getting to the car rental money, you can visit carrentalmoney.com and it'll tell you everything you need to know. I got a ton of testimonials on there. And if you want a little bit more information, you can go on my Instagram page at TheInfamousCPA. And I got a ton of posts dedicated to, just showing you a couple deals I've done, showing you from an introduction perspective. And I also have some posts showing you like examples of numbers and how it works.
So boom, there you have it, people. So that right there is a little bit about the car rental business. Super easy to get into, really, versus you going out and trying to get rental properties and all of this other stuff that people teach. And this is the reason why I wanted to share this episode. Now, this guy here, he gave some game on here. In here, he also has a course. I'm gonna link the course down below in the description. Right, go cop the course. You can jump into it obviously, but it's always good to jump in, with knowledge. So cop the course, learn more about it, and this is just another way for you to start a new business, add on additional income, or just try something new. So I hope y'all enjoyed this episode, and that's about it. Peace for the win.